Here's a quick review on the new Benchmade 51. Got this knife, I guess a couple of weeks ago. It's a very well made knife, and there was a lot of controversy on this particular model because when this model came out, Benchmade had also made the announcement that they were going to discontinue the 42, which everyone is very familiar with. So what kind of happened was, instead of focusing just on the qualities of the 51, everybody started comparing the 51 to the 42, which I'll do a little of that, but in all honesty, I think the 51 is a completely different Balisong. It's kind of in a class of its own. I don't know if it's really fair to compare it completely to the 42 because it's obviously constructed very differently, and it's overall a very different knife. But just very quickly, when I got it, I was very impressed with it. This is obviously the bigger version of the Benchmade 32 Morpho, and everyone always wanted to see a bigger version of the Morpho because the Morpho is so small it's kind of hard for any serious flipping or manipulation. And these longer handles on the 51 definitely make it a flipper's Balisong. It's not just an EDC like the 32 kind of is. I really would not consider the 32 a good flipper at all. I mean, I know a lot of people who can probably flip very well with it, but personally I think it sucks as a flipper. I've flipped a lot with it and I just don't like it. Now, on the contrary, the 51, it doesn't just have longer handles. A lot of people are focusing on the fact that it has longer handles, but it's not just that they're longer. What I noticed immediately when I held this knife was the handles are actually thicker, and they're also more squared off. So this is a much flatter surface, so when you're doing things like twirls, it fits a lot better in between your fingers, and you get a lot better grasp on the handles than you do compared to the 32. I notice on the 32, when you flip, these things tend to twist, kind of like how they do on the Camaro, because these handles are much more rounded off, and these handles are just not as thick as the 51. You know, if you put it side by side, you can see a bit of a difference. I actually measured them with these calipers over here, and there's clearly a difference. And also what's kind of interesting is I don't know if it's just, I bought this 32 used, so I don't know if it's because someone used it a lot, but the G10 on the 32 is very smooth. It doesn't have a very rough texture, so that causes it to kind of move around your hands, which, you know, kind of compounds the inability to flip it due to the short handles. But on the 51, the G10 just has a rougher feel to it. I like that. You know, you can get a much better handle when you're flipping. The quality is excellent. You know, what you would expect from Benchmade. Really just tight tolerances and high quality finish. I don't really have any complaints about that. I mean, that's kind of what was expected. But one thing that I do have a kind of a gripe about that I think is a complete oversight of Benchmade is this clip. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. When I put it in my pocket, I noticed it was loose, and I thought maybe my pants were thin or something like that. But I found the real reason is because of that. I mean, there's a huge chunk of space between the clip and the handle, you know, which is obviously going to make it a very loose fit. You know, clips should not have any play at all between the handle and the clip itself. I mean, perhaps, you know, you can undo this and bend it or something. I probably won't end up messing with that, but I'm sure it's something that's feasible. The blade is very nice. A lot of people don't like the look of the blade. Oh, I won't say a lot of people, but some people didn't agree with the look of the blade. I think it looks awesome. I think it looks very unique, and I like the profile a lot. the back is kind of polished off and rounded off like the Morpho, so it's very comfortable. And this 51 carries in the hand a lot more comfortably than the 32. It's actually probably the most comfortable Balisong to hold, in my opinion. Very, very comfortable. It would make a great EDC, you know, if you can carry a Balisong in your state. The blade is very thin, just like the 32, so I probably wouldn't use it for anything hardcore, but that does make for you know, cutting little fine tests a little bit easier. And the tip is super sharp. Actually, when I first felt it, I didn't think it was that sharp, but it nicked me a couple times, and it definitely is very sharp. So, and the edge itself is extremely sharp. They did a good job with the edge. So if you're flipping this thing, be very careful, because it is razor sharp out of the box. As far as how it flips, I think it flips really good. A lot of people had concern about the weight, because this is only I think 3.2 ounces, whereas the 42 is 4.1 ounces, and then you have like stainless steel knives like the Camara, which are, you know, almost 6 ounces. So they were concerned that the weight was going to be a big issue and make it a lousy flipper, but I don't really think that's the case. I mean, I will say that yes, it probably could have used a little bit more weight, but I wouldn't say that the lightness stops you from doing any serious flipping. I can flip this knife almost as well as, you know, the 42 or the Camara, but in the end, I think it's going to come down to preference. It's not really something that's going to, you know, enable someone from doing certain moves. You're just going to have to get used to the weight. For aerials, you kind of have to watch it a little bit more, because, you know, it is a lighter knife, so when you throw it, it's going to go a little faster, so your timing has to be worked on a little bit. The thing that kind of bothers me in terms of flipping about the 51 is it's because it's so light and it uses a lot of this G10 and it has a very thin titanium liner. When you're flipping it around, it doesn't give you that same feel and sound as you know, like a full channel titanium 42 or stainless steel Balisong like the Camara. It sounds very clicky. Like, I can't really demonstrate because obviously there's not a lot of room here, but I'll probably put some flipping footage in the end. But when you're flipping it around, you know, it sounds very plasticky, and it sounds almost cheap, and it feels kind of numb, just because you don't have that weight. I can't really describe it, but it just feels, it doesn't give you as much feedback as you would, say, from a 42 or a heavier Balisong, you know. And the sound is just kind of, it's very quiet, but the sound is you know, it just doesn't give you a lot of feel. It's kind of not as, kind of a numb experience, but I still like it. I mean, overall, you know, I'm still glad I got it. I think it is a little overpriced. I paid about 170, a little over 170 for the knife shipped. I think that's a little pricey, honestly. This knife should probably be in the price range of I don't know, 100 and maybe 150 max, but I mean, that's just not the way it is, you know. It's a Benchmade, it's new right now, you know. Some places have it for almost 200 bucks, so you have to decide if it's worth it for you or not. As for me, you know, I'm still happy with it. And so that's pretty much the 51 in a nutshell. So hope you enjoyed the review, and yeah, I'll probably have some flipping footage at the end of this video.